Hello and welcome to Nomadic Diaries. My name is Doreen Cumberford. This is a short reading from Belonging Beyond Borders by Megan Norton. The episode that we recorded with Megan is going to be released in a few days, and so this is a companion piece to give you a sample of exactly what is in the book. And this is for the National Podcasting Posting Month, NaPodPoMo. Nothing is permanent in gardens, writes Megan. Gardens change with every season and over time. The ancient soil is revived with care and planning. The soil is repurposed for new things. Gardeners dig out weeds, soil, and roots to cultivate the new growth. Sometimes the gardening beds have been neglected, and yet the plants are still salvageable. In the transition period, the gardener takes care to keep the plants in the shade and to water them sufficiently. The gardener tests the soil and determines what compost, think chopped up autumn leaves, dead flowers, manure, etc., will pair well with the plants that will be grown there. Gardeners are like conductors in the way they compose the story that their garden will sing and play in the wind. They are artists who learn color theory and the differences between tones, hues, and shades, who have fun playing with the opposite sides of the color wheel, blue with orange, violet with yellows. They are scientists in the way they methodically study what the cycles of growth, maturity, death, resurrection, and return in gardens can look like. Gardens are a place of inquiry and of experimentation, a place of bounty and of beauty. In a similar way, as gardeners of our own stories, we have the power to tend to our relationship and roots of our belonging. We may not be in control of the factors that change our belonging context, but we have control over how we tend to and react to our belonging. There will be seasons of digging out and replanting. There will be seasons of smelling the steamy, stinky soil of transition. In those seasons, we, like plants being transitioned into another pot or garden spot, may look weak, wilted, and discolored. There will be seasons in which we must dig up the ancient deaths of grief and loss in order to see new life erupt from within. There is meaning to witness and even appreciate here. There will be seasons of hoping that anticipatory death is fruitful and that nothing is wasted. In time, we hope to grow and flourish, and we choose not to uproot unless our soil is truly terrible. Sometimes gardeners are surprised by flowers they didn't plant. A bird might drop a seed from its mouth, and that seed might find its way into receptive soil. Sometimes the seeds from dandelions root into the soil. By the way, are you a person who considers dandelions flowers or weeds? Sometimes a busy squirrel or a child at play will scatter and bury seeds. Regardless, gardeners celebrate the wild diversity that emerges. As TCKs, an aside here, or long-term, short-term nomads or travelers or expats, we do grow through our own system identities. Within each system identity, we can trace values and worldviews back to the people and places we learned them from. And yet there will be outlier values that we learn from outside our system identity. In childhood, these outlier values may grow stronger. You may or may not be able to trace the emergence of these values in your life. Regardless, it's okay to celebrate the wild diversity that makes you, you. So thank you, Megan, for writing this beautiful book, Belonging Beyond Borders. There will be an episode lodged on Nomadic Diaries. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that Megan covered here. She talks about the gardening metaphor and how when we move from place to place, Finding our tribe, she doesn't use these words, but finding our tribe, finding our sense of belonging is an active participatory event and action that we need to take no matter where we are. And so no matter where we are, we're surrounded by plants or nature of some sort. So this analogy works really well when thinking about moving from place to place, whether it's years in a place or months in a place. Also, I feel like gardening is a bit like gratitude, and it's something we need to practice every day. It's an activity. It's something to bring up to the consciousness of the top of our mind in order to get a sense of the and it is a generative activity, because in belonging to someone or some group or some activity, we build energy. We no matter where we are. She talks about belonging and impermanence. I feel like I'm a bit of an expert of impermanence. I lived in Cameroon for just less than 2 years, Dubai for just less than 4 years, and Japan for just less than 2 years. And those periods of time just felt like they went past in the blink of an eye. However, the lessons and the learnings that I absorbed in those countries, I constantly refer back to every single day. They're part of what I belong to. They're part of the world mind thinking or mindset that I have. Each of them affected me in different ways. I tell stories on each of these countries probably several times a week, because something will trigger, yes, when I belonged there, when I was involved in the act of belonging in that activity. One of the things we used to do in Dubai, for instance, was they had this raft race, and we'd tie together lots of oil drums, and then a team of about 8 to 10 gals or guys would go out with oars, and we would paddle across the bay or across the they were dry docks they were building, I believe, and that built a great sense of belonging, because we felt like we belonged to that environment, that community, and that activity, and those people. And I miss that activity. Another example is in Japan. I really miss some of the activities of studying Ikebana. I was a student of Ikebana, and that built a sense of belonging. We had women from Finland, from Israel, from Turkey, from the UK, from Canada, and we had a little mini international community across which we built bonds, and our love of Ikebana grew. So I would just recommend that if you're moving to a new place or you are relocating, that you focus on your sense of belonging, because that sense of belonging is going to generate energy and connection that leads you to a greater sense of well-being. So just for today, from Nomadic Diaries, we wish you all the best in all your journeys. We trust that you will listen, share, and go ahead and subscribe to follow us and tell your friends, because we believe the stories and the lessons are worth telling. Have a wonderful day. This is Doreen saying sayonara and masalama. Bye-bye.